Hey everyone, today I've got my Star Trek Picard Season 1 review. And it is also Star Trek Day, so it is very convenient that I am also putting this review out, which has been long overdue. I remember when I first saw this series and I just hadn't gotten around to it, and then the pandemic hit, and then I just kept on putting it off and off. So I thought it was really fitting that I would also do this review on Star Trek Day, but also reveal to you guys something that I had been dying to share with you if you hadn't heard or seen my Instagram from back in February. I went to this convention called C2E2. I got this costume and I decided that I wanted to meet some Star Trek stars, including Carl Urban, who plays Dr. McCoy from the J.J. Abrams Star Trek series, as well as George Takei, who plays Sulu from the original Star Trek TV show. So I also even got an autograph signed by Carl Urban, and it was also around my birthday, so I was really happy that I gave myself the best birthday gift ever, and it was just so amazing. And I don't really want to get too much into it and get off track because this is for my Star Trek Picard review, so I just wanted to say it was really fun and awesome experience, and he was such a cool guy, Carl Urban, as well as meeting a legend like George Takei, who plays Sulu. So I was really happy about that. It was just so amazing and just a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I'll definitely never forget it. So anyway, this Star Trek series, available on CBS All Access, boldly goes where maybe they've never gone before. Or have they? Is it still worth checking out? So as far as the story goes, first off, I'd like to say if you haven't seen this series, I'm possibly going to reveal some spoilers ahead, so you may want to come back and watch this video when you've seen the series, because I'll be spilling all the tea on this show. And speaking of which, this show is set 18 years after the events of Star Trek Nemesis, which came out in 2003. I actually enjoyed that movie, but it was probably because Tom Hardy played the villain in that movie, Shinzon. I mean, who wouldn't like him? I thought he was just so cool. The cool thing was there were also other references to other more recent Star Trek movies, and maybe even parts of the Next Generation series, and it has Picard coming out of retirement from Starfleet. He has this vineyard that he's leaving, and he's searching for a girl who happens to be the daughter of Data and has information inside her. So she's kind of this, cyborg type of person, and when she is taken out, meaning killed, that's when all the action and adventure unfolds. So you knew that you were really in for quite the show if it's gonna start off with guns blazing everywhere, and, or should I say, phasers drawn. Picard finds out that she is actually a twin, and so this twin is working on the Borg cube that Romulans have overtaken, and assembles a team of Guardians of the Galaxy level misfits to go get her back before a greater enemy does. Now, this show is also very mysterious, and I didn't really have a lot of expectations going in, so I knew by every episode that played out, it sort of left me questioning things a lot, but it just left me wanting to see more. And at times I was worried how they were going to develop this series and just the story in general, because there were so many elements to it and layers that at first are confusing, but it gets its point across to reveal future events, like a group of Romulan chicks who look like they are, gathering like a bunch of witches, conjuring some power that could bring on the apocalypse. So it seemed almost kind of random to see that, but then, you know, I just sort of went with it. And then so many people who Picard interacts with can't be trusted, like this bitch. But it also seems like it seems out of character to drop F-bombs on occasion, and yes, there are some F-bombs that are dropped, and to me that just didn't seem very Star Trek to me at all. So as far as the casting goes, obviously the star of the show is Patrick Stewart, who returns once again as Jean-Luc Picard, and of course I just love him as this character. I think he definitely has suited this role very well over the years, and I love every time when he makes a speech to anyone and they just listen, so you know he really likes to command a scene and just really stands out. I mean, obviously he does. You've got Issa Baronis, who plays Soji, and she is the twin that's actually alive in this show, and you know, I think she does a decent job as well. I think you know, she's a decent actress in this show, and she really has, you know, this thing about her that, you know, you can't quite put your finger on it, but you know, you sort of still want to root for her because you know her situation gets dire at times. And Alison Pill is a character that comes off very annoying to me, and I've hated her ever since she killed the character of Bruce Maddox. And, you know, maybe at times she might seem like she's going to get redeemed, but then again, you just feel like, well, she did this one thing, so what makes you think that I should care to see her get anything except swift justice? Michelle Hurd plays Rafi, and she gives the nickname JL to Picard, and it's kind of surprising to me that she did that, because they seem like, really, have they been longtime friends where this is like a thing now? And it kind of annoyed me after a while, because I feel like that's never been done in the original, the Next Generation series or any of the movies. So why is it happening now? Like, why is it acceptable now? Santiago Cabrera, who plays one cool mother captain, and I just thought he was so hilarious and, you know, even pretty good looking at times. I think he makes a really good captain, so I definitely hope to see more of him in the future. Speaking of people that we would love to see more of is Jeri Ryan, who returns as 7 of 9, which was nice of her to make an appearance since being in the Deep Space Nine series. I just thought was really cool, and she's just still as badass as ever, especially when she connects to the Borg ship in this one episode, and I feel like it is one of the cooler episodes of the series, but also kind of sad. I won't exactly give away what happens, but it probably almost brought a tear to my eye just to see it, and it was just so eye-popping and mesmerizing to watch. The character of Hugh was also awesome as well. I mean, the dude used to be a Borg, so it's like seeing him play, you know, this side that's un-Borg-like is just pretty cool, because he wanted to help Picard out, even at the cost of his life. Of course, another returning cast member is Jonathan Frakes, who plays Riker, and even Marina Sirtis as Deanna Troi return together because, you know, ever since Nemesis, they're a married couple now, and now they have a daughter. But seeing him return to the ship in uniform was a nice touch to see, and just probably put a smile on my face every time he had interactions with Picard. And especially Brent Spiner, who plays Data, but he also plays Dr. Soon, who created Data and is Data's father. And now, while we didn't get to see him play Data from The Next Generation, the character itself is very important throughout this series. So the things that I liked about this series was that I've always enjoyed Star Trek for the world building aspects and like the places that they got to travel to, and especially seeing the one episode where Picard and a few others get in costumes, so it's kind of like a throwback to the time on the Enterprise when they go into this like hologram room, or the holodeck, and they have to basically, you know, pretend to be someone else, and they have these new identities, and then Seven of Nine pops out to kill someone. I mean, it's just so crazy. But I love the fight scenes and seeing the ships forming to prepare for the final battle. I mean, it sort of reminded me of the game Mass Effect, and of course I love space, you know, anything space themed in general, so it was just really cool to see this all unfolding. But unfortunately, the things that I didn't really like about this series was that in the beginning, the first couple of episodes moved very slowly. Now, I don't know about you, but I kind of like to see things pick up by the first or second episodes. Otherwise, I would probably get bored easily. But because it's Star Trek, I had to sort of, you know, find out how many layers to this could there be. And I feel like it created a lot of plot elements that only appeal to today's generation, and like, which included a love interest. Like, someone was having a love interest, and I'm like, really? Like, did they have to shoehorn that in? And also another sad moment, which was probably expected since the beginning of the series, was that Picard dies in the end. And he's had this one illness called Shelloff syndrome, and it was briefly mentioned in Nemesis, and they sort of, you know, continued on with that storyline with him. But then he comes back to life, but is changed and has a brief interaction with Data at some point in some quantum simulation type of thing, which felt kind of bittersweet. But, you know, since it had been a long time since we had seen them actually together, just the two of them, I mean, it's just like so sad how like this all happened, because now what were their plans going forward? Were they just gonna stick with this one season, or were they gonna find a way to maybe do in a season 2 for this Picard character? So overall, I would say that, you know, while I didn't exactly like certain things about this series, I still felt, you know, satisfied as a Star Trek fan. You know, I do feel like this gave a lot of fan service, but also, you know, some extra things that, you know, non-Star Trek fans would enjoy. So I think you should still check this out. And whether or not you're a Star Trek fan, or you just want to watch some, you know, pretty cool entertainment, you've definitely got to watch this. So I would give this 4 hearts on the heart rate scale. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought of Star Trek Picard Season 1. And as always, you guys can subscribe to my channel. I've got more movie reviews, movie updates, come back every week for a Chill Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. And live long and prosper.